Hey folks, this is Tony Aguilar here at the Camp Blanding Museum and Memorial Site, and we've got some World War II and some post-World War II stuff here for you guys to check out. And I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and it just seemed like the day to do it. It's kind of an impromptu little tour, and I may get a couple things wrong, but I'm going to do my best, and hopefully you guys find this interesting. Okay, so this is the site where there is some hardware out here in the open, and we're going to take a look at that stuff. And oh, we even got a Sherman tank back there, and I'll do my best job I can trying to explain what the things are, and we'll read some things that are there for informational, and hopefully you guys will follow along with us. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start the tour here. We've got a C-47 up here, and we've got a couple of memorials here. I tried doing this with a gimbal earlier, but I'm new to that, or the gimbal's not working right, so we'll do this the old school method, and hopefully my fingers don't get in the way. But this is a memorial erected by the 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment Association to the officers and men who served with the regiment in Northwest Europe. And I don't know if you guys can read that because it's like right into the sun. I tried doing this at midday, but sometimes it doesn't work out. And there is a mixture of memorials and actual hardware here. So, and here is a particular memorial to a first sergeant by the name of Leonard Funk Jr., who was highly decorated. Looks like he dropped in Normandy and was highly decorated in Northwest Europe. This was a training site in the Second World War, so I suspect he got some of his training here. That's just a guess. Might need to read more about him. Okay, over on here we've got a memorial. It's a Purple Heart Memorial. As you can see, there's General Washington on it. Awarded for the wounds or death as a result of an act of opposing armed force. Dedicated to all those who shed their life's blood in the cause of freedom. All right, and right across we've got paratrooper plane, which needs a good wash. You're going to see that. That's going to be a current. That's going to be a recurring problem. Is a lot of these things have been out in the weather for a while, and I knew it was a C-47. It's funny because I never thought of it being called the Skytrain. I always thought of them being Dakotas, but maybe that's what the Brits called them. But yeah, this is what they used to drop folks over Normandy and such. And as a matter of fact, this one has the Normandy invasion stripes on it, which I think makes every airplane look better. And this is not the original green color. I'm not sure if it was painted correctly or so at the time, but you can tell that this has just been baking in the Florida sun. I don't know if I could find a spot that has the correct paint that would be accurate, but and no, you can't go inside. Actually, there's a push button right here. I wonder if anybody's home. I better not ring that. Yeah, this thing definitely needs some TLC. It's a good sized plane, actually. And from what I've read, or I remember, it's pretty reliable for its time. Got another memorial here for American ex-prisoners of war. There's quite a few memorials here on this site, along with the hardware. Okay, here we get to the first piece of hardware for the ground forces. This is an M3 half-track. Obviously it's not. It's faded big time, the color. And this is an M3, not an M3A1. The M3A1, I believe, had up here in the corner an actual place for the 50 caliber to be up there, kind of almost like a pulpit. And this one was came out earlier, and I'm not sure if they use this one in North Africa. And I'm not sure if this is the original tracks, because it looks like this thing it's fully rubberized, which I'm pretty impressed with it, if that is the case. Obviously the engine is not in running condition. License plate, let's see if it checks out. But these have been out in the weather for a long time, and see if we can get a glimpse of in there. Yeah, door's welded shut. Anyhow, what's inside? Anything cool? I can't see. Got spots here on the outside to hook your gear on, so forth. M3 half track. Tow hook. Also welded shut. Can't open it. You guys can take a look inside. I'll take a look later. Hopefully it's not full of garbage or disrespecting stuff. Okay. Walking around to this side, there's a memorial to the Infantry Replacement Training Center, Camp Landing 1943 to 45. I'm a soldier, I fight where I'm told, and I win where I fight. General Patton. Okay. Yeah, they're spread throughout here, the little memorials. And here's its cousin of the half track. I'm not even going to read the plaque. Hopefully it's correct, or hopefully I'm correct. M16 half track. There it is. Motor multiple gun. And it's got 450s that normally in there. 450 caliber machine guns, 2 on each side. It's turreted. It's an anti-aircraft roll. But seeing how Luftwaffe wasn't doing a whole lot of flying in Northwest Europe, I'm sure it got used for some heavy ground support more often than not. Same thing. I'll have to read up on these tracks. I'm fascinated by the fact that these tracks are basically all rubber. I mean, there's steel underneath there. I'm painting tracks on some of my miniatures, so I'm kind of a little more fascinated by that than more people ought to be. But there's definitely some iron bars or steel bars in there covered in rubber, which means something like that's going to be a lot quieter than, say, a German half track that is all steel. Oh, look, I get to see inside. Needs a car wash for sure. Basically the same exterior as the other one, just with some offensive weaponry. The other day we were talking about on my channel about some of the ugliest weapons of World War II, regardless of how useful they were, and this one definitely, in my opinion, counts as one of them. And there's no placard here for it, so I am totally going off of what I remember, and I believe this is called a weasel. And I'm really putting myself out there, but I have a feeling this is used for all kinds of different roles, including maybe hauling some anti-tank guns, some 57mm anti-tank guns. I'm guessing you're not going to carry more than about 3 guys here, or a gun crew, maybe some ammunition. And yeah, again, not in the correct color. It probably would have been painted originally a color similar to this mold here, but you know, it fades quick after time. And the tracks, going back to the tracks, those look like they're all metal, almost like something that would work on muddy ground. Wide tracks for a vehicle of this size for sure. Yeah, they're wider than the half tracks. Interesting. So I believe it's an M29 Weasel. I could be wrong. Not a very comfy seat. at least not now. And all your displays are right there. Well, this is something I wasn't expecting to see here because we haven't fought them yet. This is apparently a 152 millimeter Russian field piece. And yeah, I don't know what the hell it's doing here. I'm not sure what color it was originally, maybe Russian green. I guess the giveaway is the, I don't know if I can, let me take this from the other shot. Look at the muzzle brake on it. Definitely looks like an Su-152. And this looks like at one point it was Russian green. I'm not sure what it would be doing here. Let's see if we can get a color from the backside. And it looks like it was Russian green. It just, the sun does numbers on stuff. And I'm not sure what it's doing here. I know what the next one's doing here, which is also a foreign weapon, but I'm not sure what the Russian piece is doing here. It's definitely not from the Gulf War or anything like that. All right, we got another memorial here. This one's to the 66th Infantry Division in northern France. And I'll be honest with you, I've never seen this unit emblem before, and it's super cool. It almost reminds me of the U.S. Tank Destroyer emblem. And 66th Infantry Division. And here's another little sub thing. I don't know if we can see it based on where the sun is, but the recognition of the 75th anniversary of the founding of the 66th Infantry Division. Veterans of this unit is once more gathered at Camp Landing. That was in 2018. Well, this is the other foreign gun that I knew was over here, and this is the German 105 field howitzer. And also not in the correct color, but at least it's gray. This thing also has been faded big time with the sun. And I'm sure it has all the wheels and stuff taken off of it, the cranks to adjust for windage and so forth. I don't know if we could even find a spot down here in the recesses that would even be Dunkelgrau. I don't think we can. Who knows? Who knows if it was even painted in the correct color? And you can't shove grenades in there. It's sealed shut. Well, we skipped over this one somehow. There's so much stuff out here. But this is a memorial to the 79th Infantry Division. And right off the bat, you can see that's the Cross of Lorraine, which the Free French also used. And they stomped all over Northwest Europe when they were liberating. And it looks like this was painted on, and I'm sure it's been repainted a couple times. Florida sun just is brutal to everything. Moving across here, we've got another memorial and other infantry division that I have not seen. I'll be honest with you, I guess I'm pretty uneducated when it comes to U.S. Infantry Division symbols. This is the 63rd Infantry, and Blood and Fire, I guess, is their motto. And I guess that's their logo. The fire and then the blood on the bayonet. Pretty cool. Okay, here's what we've been waiting for. Here's the old Sherman. And let's see if the placard is correct that it says. You can barely read it. M4A1 76 with wet stowage, HVSS suspension. And you could barely make out what this is, but sure enough, it's a cast hull Sherman with a 76mm gun. And this is the late war suspension, which I believe did not come out until September of 1944. The vehicle started receiving it, so none of the Normandy vehicles have this type later suspension. And the tracks look significantly different, actually. I guess we're focusing on tracks today. They're a wider track. And again, this is not the color it was painted originally. Can we even find a spot that was painted the original color? Probably not. Who knows if it was really painted the correct color. Nobody came and contacted me. I'm very disappointed. Like I said, the original color would be something similar to this, which is just mold and being out the environment. There's a license number. And of course, you've got the big old casting number on the turret. And this is a much larger turret than what's on the normal 75mm gunned Sherman. It's actually a turret that was for another tank that didn't make it. I believe it's the T-22. It might actually be the T-23. One of those two. U.S. experimental tanks are not my forte, but it is another vehicle that got thrown on here. It was a 76mm gun tank, and they just went ahead and used the turret since it was made for that. So one of the things that I was always puzzled, and I've heard this before, is they weren't super keen on this weapon because it did not have a good HE round, and it didn't make sense to me why a 76mm gun would have a worse HE round than a 75mm gun, because a 76mm gun is bigger, right? It's got a bigger round. Well, supposedly that's not the case. The actual round is a smaller round. The 75mm round is a much deeper round, even though it's diametrically it's a little smaller. It's got more sustenance to it. And of course, they've taken out the 30 cal that goes in the hull here. And look at this emblem. That's kind of cool. Never seen one of those. And we've got stars with the round circles around them all the way around. Casting markings again. Very rough hewn. Very rough hewn. And if I didn't know any better, this might actually be the box that the phone's in. That's a box or something. And the only reason I said that is recently I just found out that we're going to go ahead and close this back up. That U.S. tanks actually had a call box on them where the infantry can pick up and kind of give them directions. And, well, maybe this is it. Hey, I'm here going to learn some stuff. I would say this might be it. Oh, we got a little froggy in there. You weren't expecting me, were you? That might be the box for the phone. Which I actually didn't know about that. You could just pick up the phone and say, hey, there's a machine gun nest over there. Why don't you guys take it out, you know, at 3 o'clock or what have you. All right, let's close back up and give Froggo some privacy. Okay. Never know what you're going to find out here. So here it is, M4A1 with a late pattern suspension, cast hull, and it is very rough hewn, almost Russian-like in that. Very, very rough. Okay, here's another memorial. This one's to the 43rd Infantry Division. Another symbol I've never seen. I guess I'm going to look that up. I'm going to become more informed on these infantry divisions in the U.S. Army. Honestly, I don't know the German ones either, so. All those who served in the 43rd Infantry Division, Asiatic and Pacific campaigns. Guadalcanal, New Georgia, New Guinea, and the Philippines. Okay, here's another one of those effective but ugly vehicles of the Second World War. 2.5-ton truck, 6x6 amphibian, which is called a DUKW, and I believe they were referred to as ducks. Why? Because they float in water. And we'll actually go to the other side. We got the sun coming pretty strong from there. And basically you can see you got 6 wheels. So I suspect this is, I'm not sure how amphibious it is. Whether you could go across the Rhine in it or something like that. Actually, I don't know if we can even get a peek into what's inside. Let's see. What do you guys see in there? And I'm not supposed to climb on the vehicle, so I'm not going to climb on the vehicle. Didn't say anything about opening containers that have a potential phone in them. There's the steering wheel for it. I'm gonna go back and read about all these vehicles that are here. I don't know anything about this thing other than I find them extremely unattractive, but who cares as long as you win the war, right? There's your duck. Quack, quack. I'm actually gonna do a little bit farther away pan on these vehicles that are over here. We're gonna get to them in person, but I always thought that this particular vehicle, this style, was a Dodge. That's actually the Dodge. I believe. And yeah, there it is, it says down there. We'll get a closer look at that one. This one is the same style. This is a Chevrolet. And you know how I know that? Because it says Chevrolet on it. So yeah, this is just a two-wheel truck. So this would be what, a 4x4? Yep, 1.5 ton. $1943 cargo. This poor thing's seen better days. Rather round tires. I don't know if that's so it has some good sand performance also. I'm sure they had a good reason to do it or wouldn't have made the cut. Let's take a look in the back of the bed. You know, serial numbers on everything. Here's a serial number on this particular part right here. I wonder if it's the original one. Is there an Osprey Chevrolet trucks of the Second World War? Here we have another M16, again without the 50 caliber machine guns. This one, at least you can see some of the inner workings of where the crew. I honestly don't know much about these things other than you don't want to be on the receiving end of one. You got these sides that are hinged, so I take it they could probably come down. I'm not sure if you had to stand back there to fire them. I doubt it took 4 guys to fire it. It's probably just one guy letting loose. Again, we've got the steel running through the rubber tracks. Rubber everywhere. Okay, it's a 75 millimeter artillery piece. Model 1897 A2. So this one's been around for a while. And apparently it was dual purpose. Had HE and armor-piercing ammunition. Property of Camp Blandy. And oh, we got some stuff written on it. There it is. 15 millimeter M1897A PA. I wonder if that's Pennsylvania. RIA. Rock Island Armory. I'm guessing. Duh. I don't know, it looks pretty modern for 1897. I'm sure it has some modern things that have been added to it. Okay, over here we got a Boomba. Definitely a very short-nosed 155 millimeter 1918 Schneider. And this was updated version of the French 1917 115 millimeter Howitzer. How do you know it's a Howitzer? Look at that stubby barrel. Has a big arc trajectory. Model 1918 Schneider, French design, used early World War II. So after that, they probably used the longer barrel 155s that look more modern. Again, we got the barrel shield. You got the barrel welded shut. And even has a weight on there. 2,678 pounds. I bet that's the weight of the barrel, I'm guessing. We didn't do any research ahead of time. I just jumped out of the car and started filming stuff. Wouldn't want to do it any other way. You guys get to find stuff out as soon as I do. Okay, here we have an ambulance, a Dodge 3/4 ton ambulance. And honestly, to be honest with you, this is actually a good looking vehicle. I like it. I don't want to be in there because it means something's wrong with you, but I think it's a pretty attractive looking vehicle in dire need of a car wash, truck wash. Gasoline thing's in the right place on the driver's side where it should always be. Can we see anything back there? Probably not. Got a memorial to another infantry division, 36th Infantry Division, which apparently was in Italy. The Texas Fighting 36. That will explains the T on it. And they were in Naples, Foggia, Anzio, Rome. Yeah, they basically were. They landed at Salerno and they landed in southern France. Okay. So they landed at Salerno and then at, is it Operation Dragoon in the south of France? I think that's right. Not a theater I know a whole lot about, but this is their memorial. Here's another division I don't know anything about. The 31st Infantry Dixie Division. I wonder if that's a politically incorrect division now. Oh well. And this is their symbol. Double D. Doesn't say where they served, but looks like it was members of Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Army National Guard. Okay, now here is a division I have heard of, the 30th Infantry, and I honestly don't know what the history of their symbol is. I hope that bird doesn't mind I'm talking over his swan song. Anyhow, 30th Infantry Division, Old Hickory, and I was at Normandy, northern France, the Rhineland, Ardennes, Alsace, Central Europe. Workhorse of the Western Front. Yep, definitely heard of them. 30th Infantry. I believe they were the ones that got hit by the Mortain counterattack. Mortain. To find out what the history of that of their symbol is. It's kind of interesting. Of course, here's another one we all know about. The 29th Infantry Division in Normandy. The whole yin and yang, blue and white. And they were all over the place. Is that their battle cry? 29th, let's go. Yeah. Definitely one that is very well known in Normandy. And here's some of the vets. This is just a smattering of things that are here, because there's actually, some of these memorials actually had little things here beside them as well, and I didn't cover them. I thought I was going to have plenty of time to do this, but man, I'm running out of time fast. So trying to get everything in here as much as you guys can get for you guys. Here's a pretty cool memorial here to D-Day. We've got the GIs waiting ashore. D-Day Normandy veterans of North Florida in 2003. In memory of all invading forces. Stand out of the way. Everybody knows who these guys are. The big red one. 1st Infantry. Algeria, French Morocco, Tunisia, Sicily, Normandy, northern France, Rhineland, Ardennes. Rest of the way. No mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great. Duty first. Big red one. That's dedicated to the military order of the World Wars. Well, unfortunately, I've run out of time. That kind of concludes the outside World War II portions. There are some other exhibits here, some other hardware from Vietnam and the Gulf War, and we'll have to get to those at another day, including there's a small museum also inside that is closing shortly. And I got a little carried away looking at all the stuff, going over it. Met some folks here too, had some conversations about the hobby, and you know, good times. So we'll be back. This will be part 1, and we'll do a part 2 that will cover everything that I didn't touch on in the first video. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and appreciate your thumbs up, and more to come. See ya, folks. Bye-bye.